We are Cactus Wrestling. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos.
What a
Welcome
sweet
back
microphone.
to Cactus Wrestling. Yeah, the microphone, the Mano microphone. Check the link in the description down below. I mean, they sent us this microphone. It's changed my life personally. I think it's a great microphone. You
You
can
can
plug in
tell.
headphones. It is a clip, like they give you this stand. It's super easy to use, super high quality.
So I
And
got a question about it. Does it connect to Bluetooth, the microphone?
no, it doesn't.
That's
That's
okay. Still a
unfortunate. I
great
guess I'll have to get
microphone.
some wired speakers then.
Still a great product.
Still a great product.
Anyway, high school wrestling has now adapted college rules for the most part. For the most part,
Almost there. So close.
3 point takedown, which is crazy because when you talk about wrestling, it's like it's usually you have the hardcore fans like us at Cactus Wrestling and the subscribers and everything. But when you talk about general wrestlers in general, these are like guys that maybe wrestled a year in high school or maybe 4 years in high school, and they're like, "Oh wow, yeah, I remember I have wrestled in high school. It was terrible, terrible experience." That's usually what you hear from people.
Herbal experience.
And now, when you talk to those people, you can tell them, yeah, wrestling now has 3 point takedowns, and they're going to be like, what? Since when did that happen?
Oh yeah, that's true. If you ran
I
into someone that you wrestled with in high school or something.
Like Dan Hanley.
Oh
a
yeah.
legend.
Yeah, Dan would he'd freak out, yeah. Even Joe.
Antitrust. Yeah, antitrust legend.
So,
Um,
what are you guys' first reactions to it?
I love this. What's so funny is I feel like it wasn't that long ago we were talking about college moving to this, and so many reactions were like, "It's gonna kill the sport." This is the worst thing that could happen. Blah blah blah. And now everyone's like, "Man, why didn't we do this sooner?" And then it's like, "It was so good. We're gonna move it to high school less than a year later."
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And I love it. The way that I coach, the way that I'm sure a ton of people out there coaches, we're looking to score points, we're looking to build a lead, we're looking to get after it the whole time. And if that means a takedown is worth one more point for you, then a takedown is going to be, that's what it needs to motivate you even more. Then there it is. I look forward to teching guys much faster in practice. It makes my life easier because I have no conditioning now.
in
Um,
practice.
yeah, practice room champion, baby, throwing up the W.
There it is.
But I think it's awesome. I think that it's gonna help transition guys to being more dominant on their feet, which will carry over more to college, which will carry over more to freestyle. And honestly, that at the end of the day for this, the goal of great high schoolers is to be great college wrestlers. The goal of great college wrestlers is to be great freestyle wrestlers on the international stage. And how is that done? By wrestling and dominating on your feet. And a lot of people are going to poo-poo this because they say, that's folk style, and this is freestyle, and they're separate. They're both great, but they're different sports. But I think that as a whole, we have to keep moving forward toward our international success and building towards the peak of the sport, which is dominating at the international level. So I love it.
I think there's going to be a lot more techs,
Well, we saw that in college.
right? But now, like high school, whenever go to a high school tournament, it's either pin in 30 seconds
Yes.
or a pin in second period or a pin in the third period.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, even if it's a close match, like it could be 6-6 and then pin.
Yeah, so maybe actually for
It
the
might
why like the greater good of high school, like high level high school competitions, yes, I could see it having a similar impact to college. But
average
now that
kinetic.
I think of it, like if you're thinking just the general high school population, I don't know if it's going to impact that much, which is a good thing, maybe.
So I'd actually agree with you there. I think that, the standard of like a lot of coaches, okay, try to take them down 3 times, then pin them. I think that's going to be the same thing. I think it's going to be the same with, you know, two guys are neck and neck, and I'm up 6-4, and I work them and I get a pin in the second. Yeah, I don't think that this rule is going to affect that at all. So I would agree for most guys, it's probably not going to make too big of a difference. But your guys that like some of the guys that we're seeing in PA, Bishop McCourt guys, Bo Bassett, Jax Forrest, that were trying to tech their way through tournaments and that were really not looking to pin. I think this is just going to make their job easier.
Or maybe they're going to start letting people score on them so that they can then score more points.
Bold strategy. Bold strategy.
So, Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot as a high school wrestling coach.
Okay.
Beginning of the season.
This mic or this mic?
Well, you're both high school wrestling. Well, no, you're not a high school wrestling coach. Get out of here.
No, I still coach. I still assistant coach. I just mostly do youth now.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. I want both of your opinions because
Mike's
I'm
the
not
head
currently coaching. I might get into the refing game. I don't know. Comment down below if I should get into refing. Anyway, should it you come if, beginning of the season, you're having the beginning of the season chat with your wrestlers and you're talking about rule changes and you're saying, okay, 3-point takedowns now. What is it? 4-point near falls, right?
Yep. 4 points for backs.
4-point near fall.
2, 3, or 4.
2, 3, or
Yeah.
4. What is your game plan? How do you address the team? Does your strategy, does your team philosophy change? What is that conversation you have with your team?
No, honestly, I don't think it changes.
No. 0. Be like, hey, you were going to score points at 4. It's now easier to do that. So
yeah, now you're going to get more points by doing what you already should have been doing. I just getting rewarded for doing the exact same thing, rewarded more for doing less.
But is there a greater emphasis on getting that first score even more so though? Because you always want to get the first score.
I always have mixed because sometimes like I've given guys like a huge emphasis on getting that first takedown and then they'll get it and then they won't score again. So I don't always stress that like so much. It depends on who their opponent is because sometimes they get so hyper focused on just one simple thing. Like you tell them to do this and then they do it, but then they don't wrestle the rest of the match. Like, because like I did what I was supposed to do. And
sometimes the guy is just so strong.
Oh yeah. Strong, real strong.
And he had a tattoo.
Yeah, he did.
And he had a tattoo. You got to watch out for those guys. Those guys.
The mental gymnastics when you have a guy when you see that your opponent has a tattoo wrestling in high school.
I want to ask though, how does this impact guys that like you're like, okay, like your goal is just not to get pinned. When you send them out and it's like, okay, like, or hey, like you can't get pinned, you can't get teched. Like you can give up a major or a loss, where you feel like your guy is outmatched. How does this impact that? Where it's like, okay, now, he can score much easier against us. Do we try to shut? I think my strategy was
there's some guys that like it's like they've wrestled. Like I had one guy, he wrestled I think like a state champ like 3 times, and the first time he got pinned in like 30 seconds, and I was like, well, you better last longer the second time, and he lasted like 40 seconds. It's like, all right, you got to last longer the next time, and he didn't. Like it was there was nothing he could do. It was just completely outmatched. Like he was a first-year wrestler, and it was like it's not happening.
I was gonna say the same thing. If they're getting taken down and turned, then there's not really much that's stopping the guy from scoring all those points. From
there are some guys with those like super mental where it's like, I'm not going to get pinned. I'm not going to get pinned. And it doesn't matter who I'm wrestling. And they may give up every single point possible, but they will not give up the pin. But those are ones with, super mental toughness. You don't run into those super frequently, that they're bad and mentally tough.
I'm almost more excited for the near fall because I feel like there's been so many times where I'm like, that's swipes. And the ref's like, no, it was 2 1s.
Yeah, 7-point move is going to be fun.
Yeah.
You could be winning 9-1, give up 1 7-point move, and now it's a 1-point match.
And then obviously too, like there's the scream out point, so it could be an 8-point move technically.
That's true. Yeah, it could be an 8-point move.
Kids are gonna have a field day with that. They're gonna lose their heads.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be bananas.
I am happy that they're not carrying over riding time for 2 reasons. One, because the table workers as is for high school are horrendous. So that would
Most of
just
the time the people working for high
never.
school is high schoolers.
No, that would just yeah, that would never work.
Like most of
And
the stuff.
and two, I'm not a fan of writing time really in college. So I hope they kind of steer away from writing time in college so that they can just,
I feel like writing time in college just needs to be adjusted so that the goal is more towards, or the benefit
turning,
is
scoring.
turning, as opposed to just riding. Because
Yeah.
okay, it takes a lot of work to ride someone, but like that's not actively trying to score. That's actively
Stalling. That and
not to
that's
score.
stalling. That's the definition of
Yeah.
stalling then.
So yeah, but they don't call stalling on the top guy. They always call stalling on the bottom guy.
They always do. Watch Greg Kirkleit's any one of his matches or
Yeah.
Carter Sirachi's matches on top.
Greg's out here riding. He's working hard to turn. He's putting in
No,
the
he's
effort.
not. He's laying flat.
The
And he's not even
disrespect.
doing anything. And the bottom guy gets called for stalling first. And it's like,
Yeah. Carter's pretty savvy with it too.
Well,
And
I was
hey,
like,
I'm not knocking on it because like it might sound like I'm knocking on it, but
I
he's
don't
obviously
understand it.
worked the system, but he legit does not. He rides hips. I mean,
No
just
one
watch
can
his
say
matches.
hate.
It's
Hater.
clear that like that's like the refs are looking at it that way, where they hit the bottom guy first. But I'm like, I don't understand, why is the bottom guy getting hit? If
It's a
the top
chicken or
guy
the
is
egg.
stopping him from doing everything that he's trying to do, why is he getting called for stalling?
That's exactly it. It's like I've always been like, okay, if the top guy is riding parallel, riding the hips, then that's a stall on the top guy. But it's like they're rewarding it now. They're like, oh, it's good riding. Yeah, dude, you're blanketing him. It's not. It's like
It's a chicken or the egg. The bottom guy's not moving, so we should hit him for stalling. Well, the only reason he's not moving is because the top guy is riding hips. So, like, I don't
yeah, what came
You're
first?
supposed to hop out to the side to try and turn. Doesn't happen.
What about the 1 point of contact? So I'm super in favor of college out of bounds. Let these guys wrestle as much as possible. I also hate. I feel like I see it a lot at high school. Guys just like kind of playing the edge, like, oh, action's out. I can just kind of walk back. I can work my stalling that way. I'm excited to see the 1 point of contact. Not complete college out of bounds, but
Probably inspired by Vito
super
pointing at the
close.
center of the mat.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we got to change this.
Well,
Vito-
the problem is college or sorry, high school gyms can barely house 3 mats sometimes. So the circles, I remember running Mike's tournament one year when he was sick. We had the mats literally like touching, and all the parents threw, a big stink saying we can't. And that was before with the old rules. So now it's like you want out of bounds wrestling, but some gyms physically can't even accommodate that. Like there's the circles up against the wall. Like,
Let them wrestle.
Class M Wyndham.
oh,
Nightmares.
nightmares. So let us know all your thoughts about the
Didn't
high
they get rid of
school.
the center circle too? Like that's no longer required.
I don't know. I never understood. Was that? I thought that was just an aesthetic thing.
I
I think they got rid of it.
Yeah, so it's now optional. So wrestlers will now be encouraged to stay in the center of the mat instead of within the 10-foot circle. But I feel like most refs are typically like, work center guys, work center. Like no one's ever been like, stay within that smaller circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that the committee determined. I have the article up. The starting lines of the mat indicate the center of the mat, and the 10-foot circle is no longer needed. Again, kind of a freestyle-esque. They're like, yeah, as long as you're in the circle, as long as you're towards the center. Wrestlers and officials know where the center of the mat is located. So you could have larger designs for, logos and whatnot.
Oh, that's cool. I
Yeah.
like that. Make wrestling fun. So let us know your thoughts about high school adapting some college rules, what your thoughts are. Good, yay, nay, yay. Let us know your thoughts down below. And thanks again for Mayano for sending us this microphone. And check it
Jack,
out.
get into reffing. We need to know.
Yeah, should Jack get it into reffing?
The world is waiting.
I'm gonna send a cactus pole out. Hot off the presses. Let us know your thoughts down below, and thanks for watching Cactus Wrestling.
Thanks for watching. We are Cactus Wrestling, and we'll see you next time on our next video.